5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The pit stop is vital to every race team's success. Pull off the track, let your team go to work.
Outside, clear.
Change all 4 tires, fill the fuel cell, and make needed adjustments, all in 8 seconds or less.
All right. Hey. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Whenever you're watching the program, if it's Thursday night, you're watching on Speed Sport, so good evening. We're glad to have. This is the Pits Are Open, brought to you by Speed Sport, your one-stop shop for all racing news, video, speedsport.com, speedsport1.com. Also brought to you by Redline Ace, your one-stop shop for all automotive racing graphics. And I'm your host, Will Marotti. Alex Smith, our producer, engineers here. Hope you're having a good time. Boy, I'll tell you, it has gotten cold in Connecticut. It was been in the 20s and the teens. I am not liking it. I'm voting against it. I want warm weather. I am not. God's got a funny sense of humor. I'm born and raised in Connecticut, and I hate cold weather. Figure that out, right? Anyway, so congratulations, Alex. Lando Norris, Formula One World Driving Champion. I mean, it seemed it was going to be that way anyway. The hill for Max Verstappen was so high to climb, but he did it. He won the last 3 races in a row. I mean, gosh, won the pole in Abu Dhabi. But what was it? Lando had to finish, 6th or worse? If Max won, Lando had to finish 6th or worse to still. I think was that what it was?
Might have been 8th. I don't know. But I've been rooting for Piastri the whole time.
Yeah, and I feel bad for Piastri because it looked like it was going to be his time for a while this year. So Congratulations to Lando. Congratulations to McLaren. Congratulations to Oscar and Max. Max had a great year. Finished second, 2 points out. I mean, that's not a consolation, I'm sure. But, gosh, what a very competitive year. Very competitive year for Formula One. And, again, hats off to McLaren. I've been a longtime McLaren fan because of my love for Bruce McLaren back in the day when I was a kid. So congratulations there. Word of condolences and prayers go out to the family of NASCAR racer Michael Annett. Michael Annett died at 39 years old Friday last week. Raced for JR Motorsports and led to an Xfinity Series campaign and made 158 of his 321 Xfinity starts were for JR Motors. We don't know what. At this point in time, we haven't seen what the cause of death is, but we certainly extend our condolences and prayers for Michael's family and friends. On a brighter note, in NASCAR and NHRA, listen, we're going to be at PRI in Indianapolis. Actually, we're there now. If you're watching this Thursday night, we're here. And completed the first day. They've got us positioned across from the NHRA stage. We are going to have a lot of NHRA people that we're going to be talking to over the next few days. And you'll see a lot of those interviews on next week's show. It's going to be really cool. I'm going to take the interviews, and Alex is going to tailor that into a program. You'll see probably, I would say on next week's show, you're probably going to see 5 or 6 interviews from people at PRI, and we may have even more. It seems funny that as soon as the word really got out that we were going to be hosting a booth and broadcasting, we started getting requests, people wanting to come on the show, and difficult to manage. But you know what? Isn't that a good problem to have? A brand new show like ours. God bless Speed Sport. Thank you, Joe Tripp, for allowing us this airtime. We're so grateful. But now people are wanting to be calling us to come on the program, so we're grateful for that. So speaking of the NHRA, Cruz Pendragon Racing announced 2 veterans added to the team for the 2026 campaign: Terrence "Rip" Reynolds and Chris Warrior Kohlberg, coming to race in the Nitro Funny Car class. So that'll be very exciting. And then one last thing here, I want to just mention this NASCAR trial. Oh my gosh. I mean, it is getting hot and heavy. NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell acknowledged in court last week that NASCAR was concerned over the Superstar Racing Experience, the SRX program that was run by Tony Stewart and Ray Everham. I went to the first one at Stafford Springs, went to a couple others. I thought it was great. I loved it. I wish they would have continued on. It was kind of in the International Race of Champions mode. And now Everham has purchased the IROC title series and is now putting on IROC events this coming year, which we're excited about because our friends at Vintage Indy is also part of that. Anyway, this is shocking to me. I never watched one of those races and thought for a second that they were a threat to NASCAR, but that's not how NASCAR felt. And now it's come out in court that NASCAR felt that they could be a threat, that there was a one message from Commissioner Steve Phelps expressed that NASCAR needed to put a knife through this trash series. Again, it's painful to hear some of this stuff, but I'm glad it's coming out finally. And I wish 23 Michael Jordan and Matt Kenseth and Front Row Motorsports. I wish them all the success in the world because I just feel like it's gotten to a point where you can't be a new little team anymore. Nobody wants you. It's like the island of misfit toys. I just watched Rudolph the other night. Nobody wanted the misfit toys. Well, that's how it's beginning in NASCAR, and I hope it doesn't spread. Certainly that way in Formula One. Closed shop. I'm not a fan of closed shop, but it's getting that way. All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. So excited. So we're going to take a break. We'll come back. Don't go away, and we shall return. I should tell you that this next segment is brought to you by Speed Sport. If you want to stay plugged into the action, there's only one place to go, speedsport.com or speedsport1.com for breaking news, in-depth features, and live coverage across all forms of motorsports across the country, whether it's IndyCar, NASCAR, dirt track, drag strip. Speed Sport brings you the stories, the highlights, and the drama right to you. So don't miss a lap. Visit Speed Sport 1. Tune into speedsport1.com for home and everything racing. All right, we are back. Thank you so much. That was interesting, Alex. What an amazing life story, and all those years in drag racing and still doing it. That's pretty cool. That's encouraging to me. We've got a great guest on. Another one that I have to say. Met via LinkedIn. I tell you, if you're not on LinkedIn, I'm telling you, you are missing out. Particularly if you're a younger driver, younger team, solopreneur team, you've got to be on LinkedIn. You get some of the best contacts you'll ever meet. The people out there are great, and this is another one of them. This is our next guest, award-winning automotive media executive, broadcaster, storyteller, hosts the extremely popular show Cars and Culture. Former publisher of Automotive News, and currently the CEO of Flat Six Media. It must be like an engine, Flat Six, right? Yeah. Okay. We want to welcome to the first time on the program, Jason Stein. Jason, welcome.
What a pleasure to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for taking time. I was reading through your bio. Man, you've been involved in a lot of things over the years. Tell us about. I'm curious. Flat Six Media. Tell us about that.
Well, Flat Six Media, by and large, was created out of a contract that I was able to secure with SiriusXM almost 4 years ago. And, SiriusXM and I got together and decided that we wanted to document car culture as a whole. So actors, athletes, musicians, entertainers, some business to business, but primarily wanted to look at the passion around automotive from a different perspective, not a B2B, but a B2C perspective. Mm-hmm. And the entity that was created after I left Automotive News was known as Flat Six Media. And I have a love of Porsches. I have a Porsche steering wheel that's on the bookshelf behind me. Mm. And it is meant to be a focus on all that is relevant from a cultural perspective, from an automotive perspective, and of course, you mentioned it. The heart of the engine is in the case of something that's engineered with such precision is the Flat Six engine. So right. It all made sense.
Good, that's good. It's funny. Culture's always changing, right? Cars and culture is fascinating to me because the way that generations have looked at cars, the way they have felt about cars, the way they've owned and maintained cars has changed as well over the years. I mean, I remember my first car, oh my gosh, a 67 Super Sport Camaro. I thought I was in heaven. It was the greatest car ever.
Yeah. Right.
And it was like, it was what I lived. It's what I worked for. My first job was to pay for my car, right? It seems like cultures, generations following, particularly current generation, Gen Z, haven't adopted the same love for cars and passion for cars that I had when I was a kid, or maybe when you were younger as well. What's your read on that? Am I accurate, or hopefully I'm wrong?
I think you're accurate. Let's hit on a couple of different things. Why our culture loves cars, and the car obviously was the first mass market tool that led an individual or allowed an individual to travel. Where to go, when to go, who's going to go with you. It in many ways made geography personal. You were not limited by anyone else's schedule, so it was a lot of freedom. And cars quickly became mirrors into our own culture. So a BMW meant performance and control. A pickup was a work ethic. A classic car meant nostalgia. And in a way, it was sort of became storytelling to some extent. The car and culture became storytelling. And, for decades, the car became a very accessible object. It was easy to obtain. We all remember our first car. We all remember how we financed our first car. Cars built culture. So, what's happening now is that love transferring to Gen Z? I think, in short, yes, but in a very different form, because there are several forces that are kind of pushing young adults away from traditional car culture. Number one is affordability. When you look at the average transaction price on a car now at record levels, in some cases north of $49,000-$50,000, who can afford a car anymore? And not to mention the fact that most car companies have moved away from sedans or entry-level cars. So Ford is one example of a company that just decided several years ago that they were going to move away from the traditional sedan model. Well, that eliminated and cut out the entry point for so many who were in those first buying patterns, who were buying who wanted to have the freedom to go and do something else at an early stage with a car that they could obtain, a driver's license and a car. So car insurance, the car itself, parking, repairs, all those things. And then you get this move to urban living. Public transport became more accessible. Then you had rideshare. Well, rideshare didn't exist when I was getting my driver's license. It wasn't, you didn't call a taxi. At all. Right. And then, delayed life milestones. Licensing has moved later, right? People are moving less. So it's not that where the car used to symbolize freedom. What symbolizes freedom now? A smartphone, right? With a smartphone, I can do anything, right? I can go anywhere. I can talk to anybody. My world is defined by it. I have relationships I can build. So in many ways, they're not tied. Those relationships are not tied to physical mobility. They're now tied to a different tool, which is the smartphone's ability to make that happen. Now, is there nostalgia? Do people still fall in love with cars? I think so. I think there's nostalgia for analog machines now. Vinyl records, CDs are now coming back to some extent. So there's a nostalgia for a 1995 Civic that they might be able to tune, or a 1980s truck that they can restore, or maybe there's something cool about a $4,000 Miata, but it's very different than perhaps what we knew. So older generations love to buy a car. New generations like driving it, but they probably also like modifying it, or they like sharing it, or they like recording something in it. And in many ways, the garage became digital. And so I think that's probably the biggest change that's occurred.
It's funny because like clothes always recycle. It seems like every 20 or 30 years, fashions that are totally out are now coming back, and the big flare bottom pants, things of that nature. I wonder if we'll ever, maybe not to the same extent, but we'll ever see a renaissance of people loving like muscle cars. I just saw a story. I guess Cadillac's coming out with a hypercar in the Corvette frame, 1,000 horsepower. 0 to 100 in 2 seconds. I mean, that's a limited audience because you got to have $210,000 to buy the car even to get into it. But I wonder if when we were kids, man, everybody wanted a car. Everybody loved fast cars. I love the fact that my car could catch rubber in all 4 gears, kind of thing, right?
Right.
I
right.
wonder if that maybe not in Generation Z, but another trending generation. Maybe that. Do you think we'll see any kind of renaissance like that, or is that just the old days and that's where it's going to stay?
There's a pendulum that swings on everything, whether it is fashion, whether it's music. There are some folks in their early 20s now, college students who love 70s music, as an example. There's a flair for dressing up at times in 80s wear, right? Which, by the way, if you think about it now, this is sobering, but the 70s and the 80s are like 40 to 50 years ago. Like, please.
It's crazy. I know.
So, right. It was always like the 70s was like 10 years ago on a revolving forecast. But no, it's not the case at all. But no, I think the pendulum will swing back.
Yeah.
I think it's swinging in other cultural ways. And I have to believe that that the love for the automobile will always be there, and it'll probably be cool to have an older car again at some stage.
Yeah.
And look at what's happening with the changing government regulations and EPA rules. There will be more sedans now in the marketplace, gasoline engine sedans. There will be station wagons. Watch for that trend to occur, because this move to off-road vehicles, because they qualified and could hit different mileage requirements, is gone now.
Yeah.
It's
exciting.
It's completely changed. We are going to see a renaissance in the car going forward.
I'm excited. Jason, hang on to that thought. We're going to take a break for a moment and honor one of our sponsors. Hey, guys, we'll be right back. Pits are open. We've got Jason Stein with us and more to go, so don't go away. We'll be right back. I should tell you that this next segment is brought to you by Redline Ace. Race fans, when it comes out to standing out on and off the track, nobody does it better than Redline Ace. Located just minutes from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana, Redline Ace is your go-to for high-performance motorsport graphics, car wraps, helmers, haulers, hero cars, you name it, they do it all. Redline Ace makes sure that your look is as fast as your ride. So visit redlineace.com. That's redlineace.com. Go there today and see why champions trust Redline Ace to keep their image in victory lane. All right, welcome back. The pits are open. Another first-time guest today. I'm so excited to have Jason Stein with us. Jason, tell us about, you got this very popular, oh my gosh, Cars and Culture show that you do. What was the genesis for the program? How did that all get started?
The genesis for the program was a conversation with Greg Maffei, who used to be the head of Liberty Media, of course, owns Formula One, on SiriusXM, and we had a mutual relationship, connection. And I said to Greg, there is no place on the SiriusXM dial for car culture. There is the NASCAR channel, there is IndyCar, there obviously ESPN, but there's the Holland trucking. I mean, all kinds of different types of four wheels, but nothing about car culture.
Yeah.
And Greg believed that, and he said, okay, well, let's put a pilot together. And some of the first folks who I asked to be on the pilot were guest number one was Mark Wahlberg, and all of his films that he's done. A huge car guy, a car dealer as well in Ohio, with his name on stores. Zach Brown, who just won the second F1 championship for McLaren. Obviously, Lando Norris won on the weekend as well as one of his main drivers. Roger Penske was also in that first group. Jay Leno was in the first group.
Wow.
Chrissy Taylor, who runs Enterprise Rental Car, was in that group. And John Elway, who's also a car dealer, former Bronco quarterback, Hall of Famer. And they said, oh, gosh, those were the first, 6 or 7. I said, uh-huh. And they said, you've got 52 weeks. Let's go.
Wow.
And what I didn't know was that 91% of all pilots fail at SiriusXM before they get to a full season. And now we're about to enter our 5th season. So it has been a phenomenal ride, I have to tell you. I mean, the personalities, the people that I've been in touch with, everyone from the bass player of Coldplay, Guy Berryman, who's the art director at Road Rat magazine out of the UK, beautiful coffee table quarterly auto book, to Michael Strahan, who has an enormous car collection. to Gabby Thomas, who was running not only for Team USA in the Summer Olympics, but as a member of Team Toyota. I looked for the most interesting people who are in the car culture world, whether they were hot rodders, NASCAR drivers. Tony Stewart has been on the program. Kyle Busch. It has been an enormously fantastic ride of interesting individuals. I purposely stayed away from business to business executives because in my former role, I probably could have interviewed people for the next 10 years, just based on automakers or dealers or suppliers. And I wanted all walks of life. So I would argue that, almost into our 5th year and 250 guests, that we have the most eclectic collection of folks around the automotive world than anybody's putting together. And one thing led to another, and this person knows this person, and you pull a little bit on that thread, and all of a sudden you've got great guests all over the place. So it's been
that's encouraging to hear. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, this is only, I think, for us, show 45 or 46. So we started this year. Got a huge boost by being able to be on this channel on Speed Sport 1. You got to have some help, from your friends, and it's working out well for us. But I like the fact that you have such a diversity of guests, and I think that's a good path for maybe us to. I mean, we're still going to be racing, but I mean, a good path for us to intertwine guests from different aspects of life, as you say.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's been enormously gratifying. Interesting people. They're all incredibly high level. They've all achieved something, and the car happens to be an adjunct to what they do.
It's so amazing. I mentioned this a few years ago, that it seems like for racing anyway, it's a common denominator for so many folks. I mean, you can be at a track and you can bump into a heart surgeon, or you can bump into a physicist, or you can bump into an actor, or and it seems like motorsports is the common denominator that draws people together. And it doesn't matter what walk of life you're from, you can have a motorsports conversation with someone and really enjoy the time together. So I think you're doing a great job of weaving those kinds of lives together, and it's pretty amazing, really. It just you're a hero for me. You really
Oh gosh, it's just been a ton of fun, and I spent 20 years interviewing people, and this is just a chance for me to interview different people, more people. And I love the format because it is 45 minutes. You can really get into someone's personal background, a bit on where they came from, what they're thinking of. One of the greatest interviews of the last 4 or 5 years has been Stefano Domenicali, who of course was leading the Ferrari team at one point, has also led Lamborghini from an automaker standpoint, and now he was on this rocket ship of Formula One that is going into the stratosphere, and he's harnessed all of his different past experiences to build what he has now, and what we all see now, and to listen to 20-year-old young women talk about their passion for F1. It's all Stefano's doing along with Netflix, and to see that to be at the edge of a cultural revolution like that has been so gratifying for me. And he's just one example.
That's exciting. I can't believe it. We're out of time. I want to thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Again, I feel like I'm in a totally different league with your program. But I hope that you'll consider coming on again. I've got a lot of other questions I want to hit, but you're doing a great job. I really appreciate the show, and thank you so much for taking time with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Happy to come back anytime. Appreciate the support.
Thanks, Jason. Jason Stein, everybody. Cars and culture. All right. Hey, all right, we're going to take a break. Don't go away. Pits will be open. Be right back. And I get to tell you that this next segment is brought to you by Schaefer Manufacturing, America's trusted leader in oils and lubricants since 1839. If you want maximum performance, protection for your engines, your fleets, your equipment, Schaefer delivers. Their advanced lubricants reduce friction, run cleaner, last longer, saving you money with fewer breakdowns and less downtime. That's why professionals in trucking, farming, racing, and industry all turn to Schaefer. Don't settle for less. Give your engine the premium care it deserves. Learn more at SchaeferOil.com. That's SchaeferOil.com. All right, I am so excited about our welcome back, by the way. Pits are open. I'm so excited about our first guest. connected on, I love LinkedIn because you get to connect with some really wonderful people on LinkedIn. And I think that's where I first connected with our first guest, a veteran NHRA driver, a veteran NHRA team owner, respected racer, has raced for years in a very competitive field, and that would be alcohol funny car. She also has her own foundation, which we're going to let her talk about. So I want to welcome for the first time to the program. I'm so excited, Nancy Matter. Nancy, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So glad to have you. Thanks for saying yes to the invite.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. This is really quite an honor.
Well, the honor's ours. Trust me. If you knew Alex and I, you would know the honor is ours. Let's say, give us your background. Where's home? How'd you get into racing? When did you get in racing, and how has your career progressed over the years?
I was introduced into racing from the parents that I had growing up as a kid. We were at the races every weekend, like religious clockwork, Friday, Saturday.
Every weekend. Wow.
Every weekend. Orange County, Arundel, Lyons, Ontario, Pomona, Bakersfield, Fremont. I mean, West Coast. As that progressed, 13, I met Lou and Vicky Gasparelli of the Gasparelli family. They brought me in as a Rent-A-Kid crew person, and I did. The Rent-A-Kid was really the kind of the keyword there, but I did Louis' parachutes. I rode in the car to go to the lanes. I rode in the car after the passes, and I did Louis' fuel. And so I went racing with them to a lot of different places that were relatively local, nothing long way. But the people that I lived with were already running Superstock within NHRA. So I learned a lot of rules and responsibilities at all the different tracks. I did scales, I did checks, a lot of stuff. And he handed out at the front gate, things like that. Mm-hmm. And so once it happened with Louis, it was a hook, line, and sinker. I never really veered away from funny cars at that point. And so there we are. And I drove my first super comp car. I got married, had children, and I had a very lucrative music career, which actually took me full circle. Mm-hmm. Took me for a full circle back to track racing.
Wait, stop. You can't just drive by it like that. What music? Tell us about your music career. What's that all about?
What's called a mastering engineer. And I worked for a very large record company for almost 10 years. Then I veered out on my own, and I have done many, 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 many albums. I've worked with I've been to the Grammy 7 times. I've been to a lot of stuff. I have many, many awards, including about 70 gold and platinum records from the RAA. And finally, that led me back into drag racing.
Wow.
It's a whole different.
Impressive. That's cool. Well, I'm getting ready to release my first album, and I'm wondering if you want me to do the sound. I don't know, just.
No, it's really. I'm very, very blessed for the career that I had in music, and then that took me to. Once my relationship ended after 21 years, it was within 3 months, I was back at the drag races.
Wow.
So full circle. So the racers wanted to know about the music wanted to know about the racing. And at that point, I went to Frank College School in Pomona, and I got my super comp license from, Jack Beckman's and everything. And I was like, and I was already kind of hooked anyway, as a kid, and it just kind of snapped everything back. I remember all of this, and I remember people from Division 7 from when I was. And so on super comp car, a trailer, he had no idea the tools I needed or anything like that, because when you're a kid, you don't pay attention to a lot of that. And one thing led to another. I decided to go back to Frank College School, worked with Frank and got my alcohol license, and bought an alcohol funny car operation, and that was the next 14 years of my life.
So we had a few weeks ago, I don't know, a month or so ago, maybe, we had, and you probably know him. He's a longtime NHRA funny car driver, Chris King. Mm-hmm. He's a fireman, Chris King. And I asked him, did you ever have a time racing that the chute didn't open? And he had a pretty remarkable. Does that ever happen to you? Have you ever had a bad chute or a chute failure?
Yes, a couple times.
You have? You want to tell us your most harrowing experience?
We were at San Antonio, actually, San Antonio Raceway, and the crosswind was blowing so hard that when the chutes deployed, they wrapped around the wheelie bar. and San Antonio is quite a short track anyway. So I slowed it down, and I should have popped it. I should have popped the gears back out is what I should have done. But that was kind of hindsight 2020. I actually started hopping the rear end of the car. Well, that doesn't work because they're just spinning and you're just hopping. I got it down to, I was going about 250 and I got it down. We figure about 80 miles an hour. 70 to 80 miles an hour in that short distance. And they had these 2,200 pound hay bales at the end of the track. Yeah. And so they had them in arranged in this way that there was, two rows. The back row was all straight across. The front row was, front, left, and right of these hay bales. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I knew I was going in, so I just let go of the steering wheel. I let go of everything. I did the duck and tack, and I plowed right in between the two left and right. Wow. And when I opened my eyes, I hit that first row, went all the way through the first row, and then just tapped the second row. When I woke up, my first thought was I just hit a scarecrow because it was straw and hay flying everywhere. And so other than that, it's pretty, that's probably not the worst thing.
Wow. That's cool. So, I mean, I know in Jaguars, it's just everything is like so fast. I mean, you don't really have a time to think about things. But when that was going on, like, what do you remember the thought process? Like, I should do this or I shouldn't do this, or is it too chaotic to even have those thoughts?
Oh no, I remember everything that was going on.
You do, yeah.
Your adrenaline's, when you're going those speeds, your adrenaline slows down, so you see everything basically frame by frame, and so your cognitive awareness is, in my opinion, for me, is I'm very aware of what's going on the track, very aware of where I'm at on the track, and I knew as soon as I hit that, like the fourth or fifth hop, that it was like, this isn't working. I've got to, slow my roll and go back in this again, So, but luckily, it's really probably the worst thing that ever happened in the nostalgia car. We didn't like that. It just did its thing. And we did well in the nostalgia car. So
sure.
Now,
wow.
So.
All right. And you're actually, you've been in alcohol for a while, right? How many years have you been in alcohol for any car?
14 years.
Okay. And you're building a new car?
Yes. Well, we went from Top Alcohol. We acquired a heritage legal nostalgia funny car. So that was kind of my transition over to Nitro. And then we ran that for 5 years. So I had 77 Trans Am, and we transferred all of the American Valor stuff from Guardian Paveros over to that car. And we set a couple track records. We've got several wins in the car, and we did quite a bit. We were very, very, we were very blessed in that car. Well, and then it was just the same horsepower. Why don't we them up for a Top Fuel funny car? Little did we know that we were going to do a full restoration on it before we could run it, but we're all by Q1, toward the middle of end of Q1, we're really, we've accumulated parts, we've changed everything, we've changed the chassis, we've changed the tanks, we've changed the combination, the headers. I mean, everything pretty much has been changed on so we're really looking forward to getting it fired up. I've got a great group are sticking with me and guiding me and giving me the correct information of what to do. So we'll 2026 in NHRA this year. And
that's cool. What's the biggest, Nancy? What's the biggest thing you notice about the engine, an alcohol versus a nitro motor? What in terms of like just is it quicker response acceleration? Is it pull harder? What's the difference that you notice?
With the other, I was only 400 RPM. And so with the nostalgia car, it's at a dead idle. Now the nostalgia car only had a 21-gallon pump. So it takes longer for the fuel and everything to get up into the system. And, even though I would have, pretty good on the regular basis reaction times in the alcohol car, it would shoot out faster with easily, sub 1 second, 60 foots. The nostalgia car, it was just a little bit more fast and a little bit slower off the line. My driving was the same, except for the fact that, you go from a dead idle. just, the 60 foots were just a little bit slower. It just kind of depended, because now they're putting clutches in them. So they're getting up a little bit of RPM to help that 60 acceleration. So, and it's been a while since I drove an alcohol car. And so I know that now, they're doing like, 840s, 850s, 820s, 830s. Mine, our car when we were in it was like, 860s, 870s. Or I'm sorry, 960s, 970s, not 8.
Still fast, still crazy fast. Yeah.
Which gears over to a different car. But but in the 960s, 970s, stuff like that. So
yeah. All right. Let me ask you to hold on for just a second. We're going to take another break, share some love with one of our sponsors. Absolutely. And don't go away, guys. We'll be right back. Let me tell you that this next segment is brought to you by America's Christian Credit Union. If you're looking for a smart, faith-aligned way to grow your savings, listen up. America's Christian Credit Union is offering a 12-month certificate rate, one of the highest rates in the nation, 4.5%. It's a limited offer, new members, deposit up to $1 million. You get started for little as $1,000. It's called a term share certificate. It's very similar to a CD, but it's packed with mission. So don't wait. Lock in the rate before it goes. Go to americaschristiancu.com/pits. That's americaschristiancu.com/pits. Get started today. All right, welcome back. Pits are open. Will Marotti, your host, Alex Smith, our producer, and joining us for the first time on the program, NHRA veteran racer, Nancy Matter. Nancy, thanks for hanging on. Hey, so you have a foundation as well. Talk to us about your foundation a little bit.
Well, my foundation is actually called Racers Igniting Hope. Okay. And where racers donate their used spark plugs. And I get them all cleaned up. We drill them. I tape them, powder coat them, and I bling them. And then, we make keychains and we make Christmas ornaments. From my endeavor of doing all of that, I'm able to give back to American Valor, the Chris Kyle legacy. American Valor, Chris Kyle legacy. And not only to that foundation, but that's my primary foundation. I've been working with them for about 11 years.
Okay.
So
good. I mean, that's a wonderful way to go back to the veteran community, right?
Yes, we do a lot of work with them. They're really, really wonderful people. And the stuff that they do for Gold Star families, the stuff that they do for children of the Gold Star families with scholarships, stuff like that. They do a lot of hunting trips. They've, as of late, they've taken spouses onto some hunting trips and stuff. So they've really put forth a lot of the proceeds back to the foundation. The federal law is 15% has to go back from any foundation, but they give at least 75 from 80, maybe even 85%. Of everything that get raised. And they're really good. Yeah, they're really cool. They get one-off paintings, they get one-off, purple drawings. The Chris Kyle Memorial benefit happens every year. The tickets just went on sale. Stuff like that, so I like being involved with that. I like being involved with things to help children as well and animals. I just like to give back where I can.
So you've been involved in racing for a long time. I remember when I was a kid growing up, the only woman figure really that I could recall that was fairly famous was Shirley Muldowney, and she was good, and she was also but there were very few women in the sport. It seems today a lot more than ever before. How is that going? I mean, you've watched that. How has that transition to where we've gotten so many more women in the sport now than we had 20, 30 years ago?
I can't really speak for other gals that are in the sport, to be honest with you. For my involvement in the sport, it was incredibly natural. Yeah. Pretty much everything I've ever done has always been what they call a male-dominated, or considered it that, because we're just people that have the same passions, that we were doing the same things. And I never played with Barbies. I always played with Hot Wheels. That didn't. I did. I like it. It's good. And all that stuff. So it was just what I headed towards. Having a music studio. I was one of the first in the United States to actually own my own mastering studio. For a while, I was the first, and now there's a couple others, whatever. So going into this Top Fuel endeavor for me is I'm the first female since 1999 to be an owner driver. as from the historians of everything I've been told.
Yeah.
That doesn't solidify itself until I take my first green light and qualify.
Sure.
But I'm really excited about it. There was only 6 women ahead, and Shirley was obviously the first. You've got Paula Martin was the last in 1999. I believe Carol Yenter and Bonnie, or there's a Bonnie and a Connie. I'm sorry, I can't remember everybody's names right now. But it's just really exciting to be in that position and to work, to be so dedicated and work in doing what we're doing and building the car, and with the tenure that I have as a driver, and the person that's really guiding me, that has, multiple championships and stuff like that. He expresses a lot of different things in the driving techniques of this car compared to all the other funny cars that I've driven and fuel altereds that I've driven. And so I'm really excited under his tutorial to, just keep going and keep moving forward and, make the right decisions, which is a big deal. So other than that, with all the other bouts that are in there, some of it, obviously like Brittany, Courtney, and Ashley, all of that was, a very natural transition for all of them. And I'm sure, at some point in time, Autumn may step up in there. The dragster fields are getting dominated by females, which I think is great. It, gives a lot of competition, and they say, girls have better reaction times or do this or do that. I just think that if you work really hard at your craft, it doesn't matter what, if you're a male or female gender. I think that if you work hard at your craft, you practice, you work out, and you do the things that you need to do, I think you're going to be good. Everybody gets a distraction here.
Sure.
It's obviously much easier to leave off of a button than it is, to be swapping feet and doing all this stuff with your feet. But,
it's maybe more fun to be doing it with your feet. I don't know. That's kind of more of a challenge. But hey, so for every kind of racing, and certainly drag racing is not excluded, money's always an issue. Money's always a factor, right? Sponsorship. How do you do with sponsorship, sponsors? Do you find that you're able to leverage the foundation at all in terms of being attractive to sponsors? And certainly as a female drag racer with long experience and history, that's got to be a good selling point too. How does it all work for you?
Up to this point, having the foundation on the car, you get a lot of people that are so enamored with the story, and there is weight with that. Really, it's performance on track that really helps us performance off track. So, we've taken the car out to the quadrangle at Fort Sam Houston and put it on display. And, I've been there with, not only the United States military, but with the Mexican, the upper echelon of the colors. We've done a lot of things like that. All of that visibility helps to bring people together. Now, I literally just signed a deal. It's an associate sponsor with Old Humble Distillery Company. They're down in Conroe, Texas. Yeah. And so they've come on board. And then, all of the other manufacturers that have stayed on board with us through this transition of building the new car. So Dart and Sleeves is still with us. Redline Oil is still with us. Pax is still with us. Bullet Cams is still with us. There's a few others, like Associate Autolite. Autolite's been huge for us, and I know that they've got some stuff going on right now. So, and we just, once the car is out there, it's going to speak for itself. And that's going to help even do more draw than just going, yes, we're building it. Oh, well, when you get it done, that kind of thing. So just one step at a time, everything's going to happen the way that it's supposed to. And for right now, I run I facilitate a diesel repair facility. So music to diesels to cars, whatever. So that's been affording us to do all the things that we've been doing with the car. I just acquired a whole Goodrich hose tooling system. So we will be constructing hoses. I've got meetings with them, NHRA actually. And so, there's just a lot of there's so many different variables of the equation that go together to make this happen. And definitely more components in this car than either the alcohol car or the nostalgia car, for sure. Yeah, double the horsepower, triple the parts.
So you'll be busy. It won't be a ride in the park by any means. Well, and when do you think you may? I'm not going to hold you to this, obviously. When do you think you may debut the new car in 26?
Goal right now is to have the car up and running, and fired, and figuring out, okay, well, this is what it wants. This is where the fuel fuel system needs to be. And then to get up, do some laps. I really only need three passes to cross grade because I still do have current licenses. And, but we're obviously going to shake the car down. We're obviously going to take it step by step, make sure that we know, especially for the people that are setting, running all the tools, make sure they know what the car wants to make it easier for me to drive, to give me more confidence while I'm driving it. And then we'll just kind of take it from there step by step and, see when our first event's going to be. It will definitely be next year. 100%.
Nancy, thank you so much. As this show is being aired right now, we're already at PRI, and I hope we bump into you, or I hope we can track you down and at least get a chance to meet you in person. So thank you so much for coming on today. Good luck in the future. Thanks for all the work you do for the veterans with your foundation. Appreciate it so much. Thank you for coming on today.
Have a great day. See you next week or this week.
All right.
All right.
Nancy Matter, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, that's going to be it for us. That's a wrap. I can't believe it. Show's over quickly. Again, thank you, everybody watching on Speed Sport. Hey, go to our newsletter, pitseropen.com. Go to our website, pitseropen.com, and sign up for our newsletter. Top of the bar homepage, just click it on. And then also Thursday night, 6 o'clock, as you're watching tonight. Also, you could do us a big favor by signing up for our YouTube channel. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. You can do that from the website as well.
How about PRI? Where can they find us?
PRI, we're at booth. Oh, thank you. PRI is huge. Oh, my gosh. We're at booth 6048, very close across from the NHRA stage. So stop by, say hello, get a sticker, enter a contest to win an Indy 2-seater ride or other things that I know, it's a big deal. Other things we're giving away, so we'd love to see you. Alex, great job as always. Thank you so much. Guys, stay tuned. We're going to have a great program. Next week, we're going to do a lot of the interviews from PRI from this week. God bless you. We'll see you soon. Love you. Bye.